again we are starting with the chapter 19 of English literature, that is India's heroes, in which in the previous class we have discussed that the chapter starting with the class sitting where the teacher has given an assignment to the students in which they have to prepare a speech about what they want to become when they will grow up, and there they were supposed to mention the trait of any person, any famous personality, or anyone whom they prefer, whom they like, whom they consider as their role model and mentor. So all of the students were very much excited about this assignment. All of the students have completed the assignment, and one by one they started delivering their speeches. They mentioned about one student wanted to be the cricketer, the other one the social worker, the other one wanted to fly an airplane, and finally comes the turn for Kabir, one of the students from the class, and when he was about to start his speech, he was very much nervous because it was not unusual thing for him to speak in front of the whole class. And also another point was that rest of the students were talking about one person only, but the speech that Kabir has prepared, there it was not the mention of one person only, but a number of people who affected Kabir's heart deeply, who had a great impact on the heart of Kabir. So he mentioned the name of all such people in his speech. He started his speech with the name of Lieutenant Colonel Sankalp Kumar, who was martyred in a fight at Jammu Kashmir on 5th December 2014. Next, he started mentioning about Major Sandeep Unikrishnan, who lost his life in practice of evacuating the Hotel Taj, which was captured by the terrorists. He was the part of he was a commando at National Security Guard, and he was deployed there on 27th November 2008, and he fought very well. He also saved his people, the rest of the people from his force, and finally he was shot by one of the terrorists. So we have learned till here that he was deployed on 27th November to Hotel Taj. Now we will continue from page number 120, the paragraph. On entering the hotel with his team, he engaged the terrorists in a fierce gunfight. Means when he was deployed to that place, he entered the hotel with his team, the other commandos, and he engaged the terrorists in a fierce gunfight. Obviously, the gunfight was there. Fierce means intense aggressiveness. Intense aggressiveness. When one of his commandos was hit in exchange of fire, he arranged for his evacuation. And when one of the commandos of his team was shot by a gunfire, he also made arrangements so that commando could be taken out of the hotel and he could get the proper treatment. So he was fighting, or he was taking care of both the fronts to save his people as well uh, uh, as to take the terrorists out of the hotel. Even though he knew that his life was in danger, Major Unikrishnan went after the terrorist. See, when someone is going to fight with the terrorist, obviously one is very well aware that he is going to risk his life. Anything can happen at any time. So he was very well aware of the risk when this duty, when this responsibility was given to him. Even after, in spite of knowing these things, he went after the terrorist, he followed the terrorist to have a fight with them or to teach them a lesson that they should leave the hotel. A courageous Sandeep told the rest of the team, "Don't come up, I will handle them." And he was so courageous, he was so full of strength that he instructed the rest of his team to stay there, not to come up with him. And he said that I alone will handle the terrorist, or I alone will fight with the terrorists. He followed the terrorists who had escaped to another floor of hotel. A fierce gun battle ensued and he was hit by their bullets. A hero had fallen. Now he started following the terrorists who had already moved to some other floor of the hotel. And when he reached there, there was a very tough gunfight between Sandeep Unikrishnan and the terrorist. And in between this fight, Sandeep Unikrishnan was hit by one of the bullets from the terrorist and he had fallen. So that is mentioned here, a hero had fallen. Now, this is the incident that Kabir described, that why he has chosen Sandeep Unikrishnan to mention in his speech. So he described the whole incidents that took place there inside the hotel on November 27th, 2008. Now after that, Kabir paused. By now, every eye was focused on him. They wondered what would follow. Everyone had been allotted 3 minutes and Kabir had only spoken for a minute. Now, when Kabir stopped, all the eyes, all the students were looking at Kabir only, and they were so much focused. And now they wondered what would come next. What is the next thing? Who is the next person about whom the Kabir is going to speak, or Kabir is going to mention about? So, everyone, the time that was allotted to all the students, the duration that is allotted to all the students for the speech was of 3 minutes. And Kabir spoke the story that Kabir described here, that took 1 minute only. 2 minutes are still left. So the students, the rest of the class was very much curious to know what would be the next thing that Kabir is going to mention. Although it was recess, the students of class 8A were oblivious to everything. Means by now the period got over, this is the time for the races in the class, but the students of class 8A were not taking care of any other thing. Oblivious means not aware of what is happening around one. Not aware of what is happening around one. They did not care about anything else except for the speech of Kabir. They were all ears as Kabir continued, means they were listening to the Kabir very sincerely with so much interest, all ears. The meaning is given listening with complete attention. This we have also done in English language, the chapter in which we were discussing about the idioms. This idiom we have learnt there. So that means when you are listening to someone very carefully with complete attention. As Kabir continued. So after the pause, Kabir again continued with his story. The next he mentioned, when I grow up, I want to be like Vishnu Dattaram Jende, who was an announcer with the Mumbai Railways for 10 years. On 26 November, he heard a loud explosion at one end of CST platform and saw that some people had blood stains on their clothes. Now, the next name that he mentioned was Vishnu Dattaram Zende. Who was he? He was an announcer at Mumbai Railways for 10 years. And why was Kabir mentioning his name? Again, this is related with the previous incidents. On the same day, 26 November, he heard a very loud explosion near the platform and he could see some of the people with blood stains on their clothes. He guessed that something was wrong and used the public announcement system to tell people to use a different exit. So, without any delay, what he did, he guessed when he saw the explosion and when he heard the explosion and he saw the people with blood stains, he assumed that there is something uh, there is some accident or some mishappening because of which such things were happening. So he made the announcement to make the people aware of the situation and he asked the people to use a different exit, not to move from that side of platform but to use the different exits, the another exit to move out of the place. Despite the threat to his life, he stood his ground and guided the people to safety. When there was such a loud explosion and one could see the people with blood stains, what the people normally do? They will escape from that place fast, they will try to save themselves. But this person did not care about himself, but he guided the people to move out of that place safely. In the starting of the chapter, we have discussed that different people react to the danger in different manner. So this was the way this person reacted in such a dangerous, in such a risky situation that he did not care about himself, but he cared about the people who were there at the railway station, who were there at the platform, and he guided them so that they could move out safely from the place. When Kabir looked up, he noticed that Swati's eyes were moist. So when after this Kabir again stopped and he noticed that one of the student Swati, that we have already no sorry, we did not mention it first in the chapter. So he could say that his eyes were moist after listening, after hearing about two such incidences and about two such courageous people, that how they dealt with the situation. He suppressed a sob and continued. Suppressed a sob, the meaning is given, controlled the need to cry. When you are about to cry and you try to control that thing and you do not cry, means you have the tears in your eyes but you do not allow your tears to come out of your eye, something like that. So he suppressed a sob and continued. So Kabir looked at Swati. He himself controlled his sob and he continued with his speech. When I grow up, I want to be fearless like the anti-terrorism squad chief Hemant Karkare, who pursued the terrorists in a jeep. He was gunned down by terrorists near Kama Hospital along with his valiant comrades. Now, he mentioned the next name of anti-terrorism squad chief Hemant Karkare, who followed the terrorist energy. Usually people go after the terrorists with all the preparations, but he followed them in a jeep only and he was gunned down by the terrorist. And finally when he was caught by the terrorist, he was gunned down by the terrorist near Kama Hospital along with his valiant comrades. Valiant means showing courage or determination. Showing courage or determination means rest of the team members, those who were with him, they were also very much courageous and they were also very much determined to catch the terrorists. What was their name? DIG Ashok Kamte and Vijay Salaskar. Hemant Karkare spent his life fighting terror to make our future terror free. Here he mentioned that this person, the Hemant Karkare, throughout his life, he spent his life fighting with the terrorists so that he can save the future of the people living in his country. So here the fourth person he mentioned about is the anti-terrorism squad chief, Hemant Karkare.